You have 5 minutes, sir.
Well, it's quite an interesting meeting. Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. In November of 2008, the airport was officially opened for business at a cost of about $34 million, which was some $10 million over budget. A promise was made that the airport was going to be a general aviation airport, and it would not cost the taxpayers 1 red cent. Mr. Chairman, in January of 2009, just a few short months after the grand opening of the airport, you took office as chairman of the Board of Commissioners, and at the same time, you were automatically appointed to the Airport Authority as well as the Industrial Building Authority. During the first 4 years of your administration, I'm not sure what happened at the airport. I do know promises were being broken because it was obvious that tax dollars were being used to keep the airport afloat. It was also obvious that millions in additional dollars was invested in the airport during your first 4 years as chairman of the BOC. Since you were a member of the Airport Authority and the IBA, I am sure you knew what the business model was for our general aviation airport. During your first 4 years in office, what changes did you make to the business model that would ensure that the airport would be self-sufficient and create the jobs as promised that a general aviation airport would? What went wrong that caused the complete failure of the general aviation concept? The reason I ask these questions, Mr. Chairman, is since you took office, another $16 million has been sunk into the airport. And this does not include the sewage that the city of Dallas has ran for this site, which is estimated at another $6 million. I have no idea what the total cost of that is. To date, I know of only 3 jobs that's created. 2 of those are paid for or still paid for by the county, and that would be Blake's job and his secretary's job. Maybe you can enlighten us today just how many jobs were created for the first $56 million that was spent. Testimony at a recent court hearing, Jason was there, revealed that another $11 million will have to be spent to make the airport capable of commercial passenger service. Your administration and the Sheridan administration have now sunk at least $67 million into this airport. $33 million of this money has been spent during your administration. What happened to the jobs that were promised? You have proposed spending another $38 million in your 5-year plan. Mr. Chairman, you and the 30 members of the Board of Directors of the Paulding County Chamber have implied in a full-page ad at the airport will create between 2,000 and 3,000 new jobs by attracting a variety of aerospace business near the airport. That will generate an estimated $350 million for the local economy. I listened to you in the State of the County address, and correct me if I'm wrong, but nowhere did you discuss a business plan that would come close to generating 2,000 to 3,000 new jobs. I do recall you making reference that one plane would generate the same amount of ad valorem revenue as 55 homes. I found this statement to be unbelievable. Of the 49 planes that are registered currently here in Paulding County, a total of $62,031.79 was collected in ad valorem taxes in the year 2013, which averages out to about $1,266 per registered plane. This, Mr. Chairman, by no stretch of the imagination, would equal the amount of ad valorem taxes paid by 55 residents, as you have implied. Mr. Chairman, today's agenda is a classic example of the mismanagement by the Paulding County Airport Authority, the IBA, and the Board of Commissioners. I believe any successful business entity should have all required financing and permits in place before beginning any new projects. To begin a multi-million-dollar project without the proper funding is simply irresponsible and not what many successful businesses would do. Mr. Chairman, I stand before you today asking that all of you live up to your prior commitments, every one of you. And as late as June 12th, June of 2012, some of you made commitments about
your time's up.
Man should stand good as his word. Thank you.
Ms. Cathy Helms, do we not let him finish? No, we got 5 minutes. Ms. Helms?
Thank you, Mr. Coggins. I wish I'd like to get with you at the end and see that. I have laryngitis, so I'm going to be struggling to speak here. So, get the mic as close as I can. I come to you before you today, confused as to why Resolution 1403 and 1404 appear on your agenda. Let's go back to the beginning of this airport debacle. The one that would bring all those jobs and not cost taxpayers a dime. The General Aviation Airport. The citizens of Paulding voted against this airport, any funding or otherwise, twice. I have the ballot from the first vote. They did vote. Study after study, including a Georgia DOT study in 2011, an MIT study in 2013, and the latest Federal Bureau of Labor Statistics Occupational Outlook Handbook, indicate there is little benefit to building a commercial airport today. The cost far exceeds the return on investment, as evidenced by the ever-growing cost to the taxpayer since construction began on this airport in 2004. Jobs in aviation-related fields are declining and are expected to slip further through the year 2022. Running out of money, thus building the runway shorter than specified and giving the taxiway narrower than the plans called for is not, in my opinion, a valid reason to pour more money into this project. As the owner of a specialty trade construction company, we cannot short our project and expect others to bear the increased cost of goods and labor because of poor estimates. We must build those costs into the original bid and lock in the raw material costs. We keep hearing the FAA will pay 90% of the expansion. There are no guarantees the FAA will reimburse any of those costs. And upon closer examination, they may decide the runway extension and taxiway widening were supposed to be included in the original design plan. Will they agree to fund the same thing again? This phase of the airport has moved forward despite objections and other actions by an increasingly growing number of concerned citizens. We've had to rely on outside sources to give us much sought-after information about airports, the effects they would have on our quality of life, and the devastating effects on our environment. But for some bumps in the road, you insist on moving forward without even addressing those concerns or objections in a public setting. The promise of jobs is not enough. We've heard this song and dance many times before, from the housing boom that brought with it many retail outlets the general aviation airport, and the movie studio. Your dreams of big money and jobs appear to be just that. With no track record, no success as a company, and no financial statements, you have decided the Silver Terminal Partners is capable of bringing jobs and reducing tax liability for the citizens of Paulding County. I surely wish that you would share with us the reasons and the evidence you used to support those decisions. It's been nearly 2 years since the original agreement was signed. I'm going to move forward because I'm having a hard time. Please take note. I am not opposed to industry, good paying jobs, and private enterprise bringing those services to our airport and our county. I believe those things can be accomplished without commercial air service and with minimal cost to the taxpayers. Bring on the jobs, bring on the industries, and leave the commercial flights at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport where they belong. As you consider your vote on these 2 resolutions later today, I beseech you to not sidestep the concerns and objections of citizens. Do not think ignoring those bumps that have prevented this project from moving forward will go away. I see behavior much like a small child wanting to get his way and manipulating circumstances to fit a whim. Mr. Chairman, you were elected to represent all the people in Paulding County, not just a few. There are many questions that have gone unanswered for many months. I trust you will hear us. Listening is a critical part of communication. My hope is that you will discard these resolutions entirely, but at the very least, table the vote until after the public meeting the FAA will be facilitating regarding the matter of commercialization of Paulding Northwest Atlanta Airport. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Conclusion for regular business session. We'll hear a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.